Hey there, Kingsley here. Thanks for joining me on my YouTube channel where we share insights, practical tips, and strategic action steps for married Christian professionals who are looking to strengthen their intimacy, deepen their connection, honor God, and ultimately have a happier marriage. And today we'll be unpacking the topic five, five strategies, five strategies for saving your marriage alone or saving your marriage by yourself. Now, I'm very much aware that by sharing a topic like this one, where the focus is on you making the effort to save your marriage by yourself, it's going to create some kind of immediate sit up and listen. Well, is this even possible? So there's going to be some pushback, and I get it. And I would possibly, if I did not know better or have other some insights I would share with you, I would probably feel the same way like you. I would immediately think of the reasons why this is not possible, and also be thinking, it's not fair. It's not fair to expect me to do all the work, right? Because you may feel like it's an unfair burden being placed on you with the responsibility of saving your marriage, especially if you feel like you're not the only one who's at fault. And you're right. Every marriage requires two people. And where you are in your marriage right now, the difficulties, the challenges you might be experiencing, it's not because of only you. And I get it. It's both persons that are responsible for what's happening. But so when I say save your marriage by yourself, I can understand the immediate pushback that may come from you, because you might feel your partner needs also to take responsibility for his or her actions and work on their own issues, right? Before the marriage can be saved. And I get it, and I understand. We'll unpack more about that shortly. But you also might be thinking that, Kingsley, it takes two people to make a marriage work. And you're right. You're right. It takes two people to make a marriage work. But I believe that, you know, um, it's it's possible to do your part. One of the things I say quite often is, imagine an equation with two variables, and you are one of those variables, and your spouse is the other variable. Imagine if you change your variable, improve your variable, become, grow your variable, make your variable much better than it is. What's going to happen is the equation must have a different results than it once had, right? So when I say it takes two people, or you may say it takes two people to make a marriage work, because you're believing it's impossible to save a marriage by yourself. And it requires both partners to be fully committed to the relationship and working on it, right? You feel that your partner is not doing enough to work on the marriage, and that your efforts might be in vain. It might be in vain without having his or her cooperation, right? And you also may be thinking that, I don't think these strategies will work. So you might be skeptical of this very broadcast, this video broadcast, because you're thinking the strategies that I would be sharing with you that suggest that saving your marriage by yourself, you might be skeptical, because you may even think that, we've tried everything. I've tried everything without any success, Kings. I've tried and nothing has worked. It hasn't. I've tried this, I've tried that. It hasn't worked. It ain't going to work. So why do I think your strategies should work? Okay, calm down, calm down. Because you might believe they're ineffective, right? You might feel there's no point in trying something that hasn't worked in the past, or that the issues in your marriage are just too complex to be solved by simple strategies. Now, comment below if this makes sense or this resonates with you. What are your thoughts? Were they like these that I've just shared when you hear five? Now, I want to take a perspective of you being the leader and leading the way into a transformed marriage, because somebody has to lead. You're listening to this, and I'm going to imagine and just believe that you are the one who wants to lead and be more the proactive one who wants to see your marriage change. Now, taking the taking the lead in making the effort to save your marriage by yourself, here's what I believe. It can have profound benefits in several areas of your life. I believe it can have profound benefits in your spiritual area of your life, the personal area of your life, and the professional areas of life, or growth areas, professional growth, personal growth, and spiritual growth, where you take the initiative to lead in trying to save your marriage by yourself. Here are some reasons why I say that, why you may want to lead in this effort. Let's take spiritual growth as an example. Now, for many people, marriage is a deeply spiritual commitment. It is for me, right? It's a very deeply spiritual commitment, and I believe it's for you as well, that involves a connection with God, right? The higher power, but it's God. So by taking the lead in trying to save your marriage, you may find that you're able to deepen, right, your spiritual connection with God, grow in your faith, because you're going to have to exercise a lot of faith in this area and trust in God. You may find that, strength and guidance that comes through prayer and meditation and study or other spiritual practices. It gives you a greater sense of purpose and meaning in your life, because this thing may be what God has allowed to drive you closer into a relationship with him, to create a deeper intimacy with him. And so your spiritual life could go to another level. And if you are seeking to change and work on your marriage by yourself, God could use this to take you into a place he wants for you, right? So there's great benefits in that as well. What about personal growth? Working to save your marriage by yourself can also be an opportunity for spiritual growth and self-discovery. Now, you may learn more about your own strengths and weaknesses, and you can also develop new skills and strategies for communication, for problem solving, for conflict resolution, because you're going to require those skills as well to navigate this time in your marriage. You may also gain a greater understanding of your own needs and desires and self-awareness, and learn to set healthy boundaries and take better care of yourself. So personal growth is one of the benefits that may come when you're working on saving your marriage by yourself. What about professional growth? When you take the lead in trying to save your marriage, you can also have positive effects on your professional life by learning new skills for communication, conflict resolution. You may find that you're better equipped to handle challenging situations in other contexts, right? Work, or any other situations outside of the marriage. You may also find that you're more focused and productive as a result of working on your personal and spiritual growth. So it translates into your professional growth as well. Now, does this make sense? Do you see how this could also benefit you? And it could be the thing that you need to optimize yourself or become a better version of yourself. And maybe what's happening in your marriage is an opportunity for you to actually work on these areas and grow. Now, if you're new to this channel and wondering who am I to be speaking on topics like this as forcefully or as, adamant as are you here, then let me say I'm Kingsley Grant, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach. And having counseled and coached hundreds and hundreds of couples over the past several years, and having been married for more than 3 decades, almost knocking on the door of 4 decades, I think I'm more than qualified to talk about topics like this one, and with confidence, even though I'm not in this, I've experienced divorce or experienced a marriage where, I feel like it's almost at the edge of a failure. But I have had challenges in my own personal life, in my own marriage. It has not all been smooth sailing. I've had my ups and downs. I've had areas where things were very rocky at one time. And I recognize I had to do some of these very things I'm telling you. I had to dig deep. I had to initiate. I had to seek God. I had to develop myself personally and professionally. And I can tell you, while I focus on the process, focus on me improving in these areas, something miraculous and supernatural happened. God stepped in, intervened, and to his grace and mercy, we are here almost 4 decades later, enjoying our relationship, our marriage, and believe that with God's help, we're gonna do 50 and 60 years and whatever God may take that, right? So watch out. I'll be here for a long time. I'm not going anywhere, so don't even think that, okay? So I hope you'll appreciate the fact that I can come to you from both a personal and a professional point of view. Now, let me also recommend that you can listen to my podcast. I have a podcast called Happier Marriage Secrets podcast. You can find it at happiermarriagesecrets.com. Have access to all the shows that I've done and cover topics more at length because I do more of a longer show there as well. And at the end of this video, I'll share with you how to get access to some free resources that I have to offer. Now, before I share with you the 5 strategies for saving your marriage by yourself, I want you to do 3 quick things, right? The first thing I want you to do is smash the subscribe button. Go ahead, click on that button even right now. I really appreciate that. Thank you for doing so. I'm trusting that you have followed my suggestion and my request to click on that button. And if you're finding value in listening to this broadcast, then hit that like button, right? Hit that like button as well. And then make sure you click on the notification bell so you'll be notified of all new releases of this channel that you don't want to miss. Now, let's dive into today's topic, 5 strategies for saving your marriage by yourself or alone. By the way, if you would like to get instant feedback on the state of your marriage, maybe you're wondering where your marriage is right now and struggling to find out, to gauge the temperature, I want to recommend that you take the Happier Marriage Assessment Quiz, because you can find a way to gauge where your marriage is and get some feedback as to what you might want to do as a result of that, because the quiz will give you some results and then get a downloadable PDF that explains what the score means. And if you're interested in that, again, happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz, that will be the link, will take you right there. Now, so the 5 strategies for saving your marriage by yourself is on the table. And the question, how do you do that? Well, that's your question, and this video will provide you with the answers. So here's the first strategy that I want to share with you, and that is take responsibility for your actions, right? Recognize that any negative behaviors or attitudes that you may have had in the relationship is contributed, right? Has contributed to the issues in the relationship. We have to take responsibility and accept and acknowledge the fact that I have had a part to play. And so that's the first thing you want to do is what has your contribution been to the state of the marriage? And once you have identified and acknowledged and taken responsibility, make a commitment to change them, to change those behaviors, those negative behaviors, whether it's how you're speaking to your spouse, the body language you have shown. And I just did a recent episode about nonverbals. You may want to listen to that broadcast, because a video, I'll have the link below in the description that follows this video, that will make sure you actually see that on nonverbals, because your nonverbals could have communicated and contributed to your partners or the demise in your relationship. So take a responsibility, take inventory of what you've done, how you behaved, how you've spoken to your spouse, and make a commitment today to change that, to start working on that. Because until you have taken the log out of your own eyes, you have no way of seeing the speck, or should even think about the speck in your spouse's eyes, because as the Bible says, that is the first place to start. What's in your own eyes? Take that out first before you can see the speck in your partner's eyes. So the first thing, take responsibility for your actions. Number 2, communicate clearly and consistently. Now, it means that Communicate in a more vulnerable way, an open and honest way with your partner about your feelings and your concerns, right? So you want to make sure that you listen to their perspective as well. It's not just what you want to download and for them to just take all of that and not have a chance to respond. So you want to listen to their perspective. That's what communication is all about. It's not just a one-sided thing. And find ways to work together to address the issue or any issues that may come up during this time of communication. See, communication is like a muscle that needs to be worked on consistently, not just a one-time thing. You've got to be working on it. And I find that couples many times just either don't know how to do this or fail to do this, don't make time for it, or even just wish they had a way to communicate and practice this communication skill. And so what happened is that I have recognized this in working with so many couples over the many years, that what I have recognized is that they need sometimes a tool to help them to communicate better, to work on their skill, to build their communication muscles. And so what happened is that in trying to figure out how to help couples, I came up with a tool that's called the Connect Strong Conversational Card Deck. And what that does, it allows the couple, you and your spouse, to talk about things that is outside of just the kids and work and school and schedule and the weather, right? It's allow you to have conversations about things that matters in the relationship, things that truly allow you to connect deeper and to build a stronger sense of intimacy. And so these cards are designed with that in mind, have a question on each, one question and 3 prompts on the card that you could use those prompts or create your own to have conversation. And it helps you with the guidance of how to use the cards effectively. It helps you to talk about matters like issues in the relationship that you may not know how to bring up, but it allows you to create a safe space and have a conversation. And if you're interested in knowing more about these cards, you can go to kingslegrand.com/cards, kingslegrand.com/cards, and find out more about how you can have almost over 212 interactive ways to communicate with your spouse. And it comes in a deck of cards, and you can have that and get it. Right now, you can get $10 off before it gets on Amazon, which will be a full price then plus shipping and handling. So you have an opportunity right now to save $10 and half the shipping and handling if you go to kingslegrand.com/cards. Now, it depends on when you're listening to this broadcast, that whether it's still in play or not. If you go there and you do not see the $10, it means that that time has run its course and it's no longer available. But get the cards anyway. I believe it would help you with communication. Now, with that said, now let's look at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th strategies for saving your marriage alone. Number 3, focus on positive changes. Focus on positive changes instead of dwelling on the negatives. We are so easy to think of or see the negatives, right? Is that true? We see the negatives most times than the positive. That's how our brain is wired. So instead of dwelling on the negatives, try to find a way to focus on the positive changes you can make or is making to improve the relationship. Show your partner that you're committed to making things work. And so when you're interacting with him or her, try to find things that they're doing right and let them know, right? Speak life into your relationship. You know, I love the Proverbs that says life and death is in the power of the tongue. Speak life so you might live. Speak life so you might live. So focus on the positive things that are happening, the changes that are happening. Highlight that, acknowledge that, mention that, not just look at it and sit on the information. Talk about that. You get more of that when you begin to highlight the positive changes. And that's number 3. Number 4, be patient and persistent. I cannot tell you how much one of the most important traits that you're going to have to exercise is patience. And you can see, right? Because saving a marriage takes time and effort. You did not get to this place you are in your relationship overnight. It has taken time to get here. So guess what? It's going to take time to undo most of the things that has brought you to where you are. So don't get discouraged if progress seems slow. Keep working towards your goals. But here's what happened in the process. You're becoming what I described earlier in spiritually and personal growth, spiritual growth, personal growth, professional growth is happening. So it's not like nothing is not, it's happening. Things are happening, but it may not be seen in the relationship yet. But keep working towards your goals. Be persistent in your efforts to improve the relationship. Let that be the thing that's on your mind all the time. You're praying, you're meditating, you're doing spiritual discipline, you're working on yourself, self-care in the process. And little by little, I believe you'll see the changes take place and translate into your relationship. So be patient and persistent. And the fifth strategy I want to suggest is be supportive of your partner. Even if your partner is not as motivated as you are, yes, you're hearing me right. Even if he or she is not as motivated as you are, show them that you're still committed to the marriage. I love what the Bible says, when you're in dealing with your enemy, if he's hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink, right? In that way, you're heaping coals of fire on their head. So what happened is this. So you're going to be doing the things that honors God, pleases God. So do what Jesus did in his interaction with those who were considered his enemies, right? So I'm not saying your husband or your wife is your enemy, but in a sense, it feels that way, right? They're not your ally. They are your adversary. So if that's the case, do good, not evil. Be kind. Speak kindly. You're going to continue to do the things and rise above and be the bigger one because you're leading in this regards. So be supportive of their efforts. Encourage them to work towards a relationship. With time, they may become more motivated as they see the positive changes in you. They're hearing how you're talking. They're seeing how patient you are, how less reactive you are to things, less, just angry and whatever else behavior they may have seen. They're seeing less of that. These are the things that's going to help you. So overall, taking the lead, as I mentioned before, in trying to save your marriage by yourself, it can be transformative in your own personal life, in the areas of growth I've mentioned earlier, and also in the relationship. Now, I know it can be challenging and require a great deal of effort on your part, but here's what happened. Hear me out on this. The rewards can be a stronger, more fulfilling marriage that is well worth it. And you will be also a transformed person in the process if you trust the process and trust even what I'm saying here. Now, in summary, here are the 5 strategies again for saving your marriage by yourself or alone. Number 1, take responsibility for your actions. Number 2, communicate clearly and consistently. Number 3, focus on positive changes. Number 4, be patient and persistent. And number 5, be supportive of your partner. Now, I'd like to know what stood out to you the most in this broadcast. What did you hear that's both good or bad, or good and not so good, or what caught your attention? What stood out to you the most? Would you let me know by commenting below? I'd be very appreciative of that. I want to hear your thoughts, any questions you may have, any comments you may have. I'd love to hear any of these that you're doing or your thought on this idea of saving the marriage by yourself. So I want to say thank you for watching today, and thanks for being here. Now, before you go, make sure that you subscribe to the show. Hit that subscribe button. If you like what you heard, hit the like button. Share this with somebody else. Please do that on social media or wherever you share the things like this. And make sure you click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future broadcasts that I'm doing here on this channel. And again, remember to listen to the Happier Marriage podcast, happiermarriagesecrets.com, and you can get access to that, free access to all the podcasts that's there, but also that website that you can find some access to other free resources as well. Now, As you can tell, I'm very passionate about what I'm doing, as I hope you're hearing that. But all the links that I mentioned today, I may have did it very fast, but all the links I mentioned will be today will be in the description below. And with that said, my friend, let's go and make marriages happier again. And with that said, peace out, God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode or the next broadcast on this channel. God bless.